Mark, thanks for sitting down with us. We're just coming up to the end of November now, so first of all, what have you made to the start of the season?
It's been a busy start, but I think on the pitch we're delighted with the form that we've shown. I think the performances have been really good, and in a large part the results have followed. So to be sitting second in the league where we are, I think we're in good shape. Still lots to do. And off the pitch, lots of work going on at Portman Road, lots of infrastructure projects underway. Very, very busy time for us. But I think, I think all round we're in pretty good shape.
Before we get into some of those projects, averaging nearly 26,000 at home, over 1,000 away fans going to every game, other than Bracknell where it wasn't possible. How impressed have you been by that again?
Fan base has been incredible. We sat down at the start of the season with the internal management team, and we were talking about our planning and preparation for the season. And I remember saying, look, I want us to try and track towards 18,000 season tickets. And I think probably everybody in the room thought I was a bit mad in doing that, to be honest with you. And they couldn't see the plan on how we were going to get to that. We're going into the Christmas period and we're at 17,500 season tickets. That's the half season tickets, that's the full year season tickets. And I just think that's incredible. So we're tracking high average attendances. We're much higher than literally all of League One. We're much higher than the majority of the Championship, and actually I think there's 4 or 5 Premier League clubs that this club is currently achieving higher average attendances than, and I just think that's incredible. Home and away, the fans have been amazing. 1,300 travelled to Exeter at a really difficult and awkward time for the kick-off. Sold out their allocation so quickly, and again, it's just incredible. The size of the football club, the size of the fan base, and the passion that this fan base is showing for the football club is just unbelievable.
As you said, there's a few projects going on, and the club submitted further plans for some projects at Portman Road. Could you just talk us through some of those?
Yeah, the infrastructure work at Portman Road doesn't stop. We did a lot of work in the summer, which was tough, to be honest with you, because we're building on old infrastructure that hasn't been invested in many, many years. So just putting in the digital advertising, breaking through in that southeast corner, putting the big screen in was a real challenge, but I think it looks really good. Portman Road's starting to look sharp. Still got a lot of work to do, but it doesn't stop there. Yeah, we've applied for planning permission to do some more work in that southeast corner, which is really important. The work, believe it or not, to replace the Portman Road pitch next summer has already started. A lot of the cables and electrical work that are in that southeast corner are now being rerouted all the way around the Portman Road Stadium. And fans will probably see in the next week or so that we will formally announce that we will knock down what is the old Staples building and the old gym building that we acquired. We bought those around a year ago, and we knew what we were buying. We knew that in essence we were buying 2 brick buildings with tin roofs, but under further investigation, to convert those into, say, fan-led facilities or other usable spaces, we're going to have to invest substantial money in airflow, health and safety, bringing them up to standard, and the reality is it's much more cost effective to knock them down. I think we will car park it in the short to medium term whilst we work with our owners to look at the setup and further development of the stadium. But fans will see that coming out in the next few weeks. But what that does is opens up the access and egress to that south stand. So actually we can now start to put the turnstiles into the rear of that stand, look at a much better flow for fans, getting them in and out of the stadium. It's more work at Portman Road, but it's important that we build on it.
You touched on the turnstiles there, but why is it so important that that pitch is brought up to modern standards?
The pitch is way beyond its natural life. I think the ground staff have done an amazing job this season. If you look at the standard of the playing surface at Portman Road to this time last year, it was really struggling. We've invested in the new lighting rigs. The cost of running those lighting rigs is really, really expensive at the moment, but it's made a difference. But in essence, you're trying to patch up what is a poor playing surface. We're one of probably 2 or 3 clubs in the whole country that still has a soil-based pitch. The surround, the pitch is really poor. the irrigation is poor, the sprinkling system is still the old hose pipes that you're dragging onto the pitch. It doesn't work. I think we've seen the way Kieran sets his team up, and the playing pitch and the surface at Portman Road is really important to Kieran and how he plays. It's important to the development of the players, and it's a key investment for it. We'd like to have done it last season, we couldn't, but the plan now and the work is underway for next summer.
One of the areas that was worked on last summer was the PA system. We are still seeing some supporters expressing concerns. Do you have any update on that?
Yeah, trust me, it's not only supporters expressing concerns, I'm expressing concerns. But it goes back to, trust me, this isn't through lack of work, lack of effort, attempt to fix this. We invested in the new speakers, new audio systems in back of house to get all this sorted in the summer. What we're now finding is that's all fine. The new speakers work, the AV system works. The infrastructure that sits behind that, so the electric cabling in a lot of this stadium is very, very old, and again has had no investment for decades. And when we're turning these speakers up at full blast, some of that is failing. Some of that is sparking out and causing speakers to pop out, causing interference in some of the speakers around the stadium. We've got the company back in, and they're working on it. You know, apologies to fans, but it's just taken us a little bit more time to get this absolutely right. But what that links into is, we've just talked about it. You know, we've got 28,000 and we're heading towards 28,000, 26, 27,000 plus on a more regular basis now at Portman Road. That is stretching our infrastructure. Be under no illusion. It's testing our infrastructure in ticketing, retail, hospitality, stewarding, bars, everywhere. More than it's been tested for probably 2 decades here. So we're having to adapt, we're having to get up to speed on an ongoing basis. We'll get better, we'll improve, but it is taking time. And one of the things we've got to do now is we've got to make sure we are set up to sell 26, 27, 28,000 and beyond tickets on a regular basis and deliver the fans an outstanding experience. So when you put the tannoy system in, and the tannoy system is actually pretty good when you're gearing the noise up to 21, 22,000.
Yeah.
When you've got 26, 27,000 in, and it has to go up even further, that's when the interference is coming, that's when the problems are happening. But we have to sort that, we're working with the professionals. I'd ask the fans to bear with us, we're on it.
Just finally on the projects going on at Portman Road, is there a time scale on, say, the Turnstiles project in particular?
It's ongoing. I mean, I think you'll see the old Staples building, as we call it, that will come down imminently. Once we've got the relevant licenses to do that with the local authority, we'll just do it. So I would think that will be a January project at the very latest. But what I would say is on a lot of these infrastructure projects, we are moving at breakneck speed. You know, I was talking to Kieran last week, and he hasn't really been with us a year yet. And when Kieran came in, you know, after the first 2 or 3 months, we talked about the pitches at the training ground. We have now installed and built 3 brand new modern pitches at the training ground. Full irrigation, full pop-up sprinkler systems, all the ball netting, all the surrounds completed, and those pitches will be available to Kieran as of next week. That's breakneck speed, trust me. To get the pitch installed for next summer at Portman Road sees a huge amount of infrastructure work. And that's before we talk about, we've brought the catering in-house, we're changing internal facilities, we're upgrading on the way through. There is so many things that we've got to get much, much better at, but we have come a long way in the last 12 to 14 months. But as I said, there's a long way to go.
Away from the facilities and the football side of things, we've also seen the appointment of Dan Palfrey as director of the foundation. Why did that move come around?
I think it's really important. We've brought into the football club a number of staff from outside with real good expertise. You know, you've seen Tom Ball come in as finance director. You know, Luke Ware and Andy Rolls, Gary Probert have joined us on the football side. Stuart Cox has joined us as head of venue from the club up the road. All really top professional people. But we've also got talent in the club, and I think that's really important. Dan's someone who's been here for a number of years in a PR role, and will work with you and the rest of the media team on a regular basis. You cut him, he bleeds blue blood. He's passionate about the club, he's passionate about community. A lot of the fans will have integrated him, and a lot of people would have seen the important role he played in COVID. And we've got a really good team led by Jason and his staff in the trust. Outstanding people at delivering activities and managing activities. But we needed someone to work more strategically and bridge between the club and the trust. I haven't got the time or the capacity to do that. And we felt it was a fantastic opportunity to develop someone from within. If you like, he probably won't like me saying this, but he's like a Cam Humphreys or a Wolfie on the business side of the club. He's come through our academy, if you like. He's homegrown. And I think he should be very proud, but the club should be very proud that we're also developing our own internal business people. And I think everyone will get behind him and wish him the very best of luck in his new role, and be very supportive of Jason as Jason drives the activities forward.
Another off-the-field appointment, or appointments if you like, we've seen Simon Milton and Matty Holland become club ambassadors. What exactly does that entail, and why is it so important that those former players are still involved in the club? Vitally important for us. You know, since I've talked about this before, we've built, or we're still building, a relationship with the Former Players Association, but they've been so supportive. And in particular, Matty and Simon, they do a lot of work behind the scenes, and I mean a lot of work in organising activities, organising events, proactively promoting the football club. Matty working with the trust, Simon with his own trust in Future Stars that links to the football club. And there's so much work that goes on, it's just incredible. And I felt that it was time to, if you like, formalise that link, and I needed to make sure that we had real, genuine roles in place for the two of them that brought them semi-formally back into the football club, and made sure that we're working together with them and the Former Players Association. So I'm delighted. They're really good people, they're top Ipswich people, and I can't thank the Former Players Association enough. You know, Russell Osmond, Terry Butcher, John Walk, etc. are just fantastic. And we've just opened Burley's Bar in recognition of George and the fantastic service he's given the football club. George Burley, again, brilliant Ipswich man, so supportive of this regime. We wanted to formalise it in essence so we can do more. And we're delighted that they both accepted those roles, and if you like, I guess we welcome them back into the club. And just finally, it's a question that no doubt supporters will be thinking about as we approach January. How active do you expect the club to be during that window?
It's a really important question because, you know, we've just talked about wide-ranging infrastructure projects that we're working on at the football club. They're really important. They're bricks, they're mortar, they're investments for the club, they're investments to make the whole fan experience much more better. But if we're not succeeding on the pitch, it undermines everything that we're doing off the pitch. When we built the squad in January, we built depth, and right now that depth is being tested because we're seeing a run of injuries, injuries that are a bizarre set of, if you like, injuries because they're all contact injuries. They're all happening in game or in game training. Then they're not really soft tissue injuries. So we have to go again. We have to make sure for the second part of the season that we have the depth. All clubs are going to have injuries. We get that. We've got a good quality squad. We're challenged a little bit by the 22-man squad rule because it's got to fit into that. So we can't just go and spend and then not get them into the 22-man cap. But I think the fan base will have learned by now that myself, Kieran, the recruitment team, the club, the owners, the investors, we're active in transfer windows. This transfer window will be no different. Kieran's very clear on what he wants. He's very clear on the positions he wants. He will not be rushed. He wants to make sure we're bringing in better than we have, and people that fit the culture of what he's trying to build and will make ultimately the club better and us more successful. So I anticipate us being active. We're on that already. You know, we finish a transfer window in the summer, we're straight onto the January 1. Then we don't stop and start. So I think we'll be active, and we need to see a second half of the season probably better than we've had in the first half if we want to ultimately get where we want to get to. It's going to be tough. It's a 46-game season, but we will make sure that we are prepared recruitment-wise for the second half, and we will be supporting the manager in that.
Thanks for your time, Mark.
Absolute pleasure.